from less than 2.4. And on this one, we have that the sum of two consecutive even integers is 16 less than 3 times the larger number. Find the integers. So the first thing is for us to remember that an even number, it's numbers that are pairs, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and so it goes on. And the other thing is that the difference between two consecutive even numbers is 2, right? They're one next to each other. So for instance, the difference between 2 and 4 is 2, and 2 and 4 are consecutive even numbers. So those are the first two pieces of information that we need to remember and take a look onto. Okay, so this is exercise from 4. This is exercise 4 from lesson 2.4, and it says that the sum of two consecutive even integers is 16 less than 3 times the larger number. Find the integers. So first of all, they're specifying that these are integers. That means these are whole and natural numbers. What this means is that we're not going to be dealing with fractions or decimals. And then we are also being told that they are even. Remember, even numbers are those numbers that are in pairs. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and the list can go on. Those are even numbers. And it says that these two integers are consecutive. And let's keep in mind that the difference between two consecutive even numbers is 2. So it's all the time the difference between consecutive even numbers is going to be 2. So we are working with two numbers. So we have the smaller even number or integer, and then we have a larger even number, right? And those are the two that we are trying to find. Now it's talking about the sum of these two consecutive even numbers. So that means that we're going to be adding these two. So this plus comes from the fact that it says the sum, right? Now it says that this is, so the sum is, so that means equal sign, 16 less than 3 times the larger number. So we don't know what the value of the larger number is, right? So we're gonna go ahead and give it a variable to represent it. So I'm going to say that the larger even number, it's going to be represented by the variable n. And because I know that the difference between two consecutive even numbers is 2, and that the other integer it's going to be smaller than n, then I can say that the smaller integer is going to be n minus 2. So that means a difference of 2 that we have in between consecutive even numbers. And we still have that plus sign, so the sum, it's still going on, right? And then equals 16 less than, so 16 taken away from 3 times the larger number. So 3 times the larger number, so 3 times n, and then take away 16. And then we have created our equation, which is n minus 2 plus n equals 3n minus 16. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. So n minus 2 plus n equals 3n minus 16. And I can go ahead and solve for my variable n in order to find out what is the larger integer. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my line that goes through the equal sign. I can see that on my left side, I can simplify it by combining my n values. This is going to give me 2n minus 2 equals 3n minus 16. Now I notice here that I have an n value on both sides, right? So a term with an n on both sides of my equation. Remember, when this happens, we always want to move all our n values into one single side, and it's easier to move the term that has the smaller coefficient. So in this case, 2n has a smaller coefficient than 3n. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of 2n by subtracting it on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and do minus 2n minus 2n. So my 2n's are going to cancel out, and I'm going to be left with negative 2 equals 3n minus 2n, which is 1n, and then minus 16. Now from here, I still want to isolate my n value, so I'm going to go ahead and add 16 on both sides. The 16s are going to cancel out on the right side of the equation, and then on the left I'm going to end up with negative 2 plus 16, which is positive 14, equals n. So this is my larger integer. So this is a larger integer. Now we still need to find the smaller even number, right? So we know that the smaller even number, it's n minus 2. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that n value and I am going to replace it where that n is. So n is 14, so I'm going to go ahead and replace it with 14 minus 2, which is going to give us 12. So we found the smaller value and we found the larger value. So we can say the two even integers are 12 and 14. And we are done with our exercise 4 from lesson 2.4.